counting dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman's historical vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
Talk Today is also brought to you by Mike's Builders. Call 923-0706. Mike Builders. They make it happen.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listener participation program.
Talk Today.
What's on your mind, Cayman? If you're ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Discussing current events and local news, community spotlights, hot topics, listener stories, cultural and historical discussions, environmental issues, fun and lighthearted topics, guest interviews. Cayman, basically anything you want to talk about, we are ready to listen. Here's your guest host, Orrett Connor.
Good afternoon and welcome to Talk Today. If you didn't have enough of me or get enough of me this morning on For the Record, well, here I am, right back with you again on Talk Today at 12:15. Phone lines will be open. I really would like to continue the discussion about immigration issues as well. I have some things that I would want to share with you. I don't believe we have any guest schedule in the studio, so phone lines will be open as well, and I have good news for you. I will have a little bit more or much more flexibility in terms of the amount of time that you will have to get your points across. Please stay tuned. Talk Today. We'll be back shortly.
Talk Today is reminding you
to avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
And now, back to Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome to Talk Today. Phone lines are open. Toll-free number 1-800-534-8255. Also 949-8037, 949-6990, or WhatsApp number 925-3261. Meanwhile, even though this is now Talk Today rather than For the Record, and we don't have a birthday shout-out segment here. This morning, I didn't get an opportunity to give this birthday shout-out. So happy 21st birthday tomorrow to Cameron Ebanks. And those birthday greetings are coming from his loving parents, Reese and Sasha, also his sister, Jess, and his grandparents, Sharon and Kenneth. So happy 21st birthday to Cameron Ebanks. Glad I was able to share that. Some of the comments that we received this morning when Minister Miles and the two board chairpersons, Mr. Jaron Leslie and Mr. Jerry Wood, were in the studio. One of the individuals compared what was needed and said that Minister Miles needed to be like Lyndon Pindlin of the Bahamas, and what he did for his people there as well. Didn't get to share that one either. Of course, we know also some of the pushback that we're likely to get whenever immigration policies and laws are implemented, especially those that are meant to protect the Caymanians. One of the pushbacks will be about businesses leaving the Cayman Islands and going elsewhere. And then those who want to be extremely cautious will say, well, when the businesses leave, it will be extremely difficult for them to come back as well. And some will argue it doesn't take much for businesses to leave. The physical infrastructure they may not be able to take with them, but just by the push of a button they can, transfer. There are not many places that they're going to find as comfortable, as welcoming, and as accommodating than the Cayman Islands. So when the pushback comes, we have to also be prepared to push as well. One of our listeners has written in and said that they heard Lord Graham yesterday called for a legal definition of belonger, native or indigenous, to be enshrined in our Constitution. Yes, this is long overdue, local residents' recognition. Well, in our initial immigration legislation, the term belong to the Cayman Islands was used. So we used the terminology belonger before, and then, of course, we changed it later on to Caymanian status, then the right to be Caymanian, and, all several distinctions or several monikers were placed on it. And also that the definition should be in our Constitution. I would urge caution in so doing, because when you put something in your Constitution, while the Constitution is a living document subject to change depending on the circumstances, you can't just go willy-nilly or repeatedly be amending your Constitution. So if we have a definition in law rather than in the Constitution, you can always change it through laws that are passed by our Parliament, even though our Parliament really isn't supreme. And at the end of the day, the governor has to assent to legislation, which means that the UK has to give approval for that assent. But it is certainly much easier to change things, if you need to change them, through law, legislation, as opposed to our Constitution. So the framers of our 2009 Constitution took that into consideration, and basically what they said is Caymanian means whatever the definition is that we put in that is in our immigration law. That, to me, is a smart move, because changing a Constitution is not simple, not easy, can be time-consuming as well. With that, we are going to take our first commercial break. Please stay tuned. Talk Today. We'll be back shortly.
This summer, choose from 10 international destinations for your vacation with Cayman Airways. Explore New York, discover Denver, roam Los Angeles, play in Tampa, shop in Miami, tour Panama, uncover Havana, hike in La Ceiba, jam in Kingston, or relax Relax in Montego Bay. Connecting flights are also available from the sister islands. Cayman Airways offers more international non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline, and the lowest rates for checked bags. Book today at CaymanAirways.com, download our new mobile app, or call Cayman Airways reservations on 949-2311. Come fly with us and relax with your uniquely Caymanian airline.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin are the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Are you feeling overwhelmed, sad, stressed out, or suicidal and need support? Call 1-800-534-6463. K-Mind Mental Health Helpline. It's okay to ask for help. K-Mind Mental Health Helpline, available from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Friday. It's free and confidential support and guidance on your emotional and psychological health.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. Okay, so the person in my response to the belonger situation and having status or native belonger, native or indigenous to be enshrined in our Constitution. They say, "Hi, sir, that's your opinion, but this local person and others want to see native Caymanians defined in our Constitution." Yeah, that can be done. Defining it, anyone now with at least one born Caymanian and a grandparent. Yeah. So you could put in a definition of what an indigenous Caymanian is, or what a native Cayman, or who a native Caymanian is, for in terms of a definition. Now, for legal purposes, in terms of the legal status of someone, that to me would be different, but certainly room for discussion as well. In talking about our immigration legislation, and the minister has pointed out that certain amendments will be coming in September in relation to that. The executive, that is the cabinet, also has other tools at its disposal to assist boards and the director of work as well. They are, one, in the form of regulations that are published, and 2, in the form of a directive. So here's what the immigration law says about regulations, right? The cabinet may make regulations generally for administering this act, that is the Immigration Act, and that's the 2022 revision, I believe it is, and for given effect to its objects, purposes, and intentions, or with respect to any matter or thing by or under this act that may be or is to be prescribed. That is basically general in general terms. If the cabinet is satisfied that it is equitable, and in this case, equitable means fair, right? If the cabinet is satisfied that it is equitable, that any regulation should have, folks, listen to this, retrospective effect. That means it can go back in time, right? The regulation can go back in time. So it could say, it could refer to something that happened in January, or a position that you were in January. It can go back in time, right? So it says that if the cabinet is satisfied that it is equitable, that is fair, that any regulation should have retrospective effect in order to confer a benefit upon or remove a disability attaching to any person or class of persons, that regulation may be given retrospective effect for that purpose. So they can make retrospective regulations if it is to confer a benefit on someone, or if it is to remove a disability attached to any person. So this would sort of be retrospective legislation that has a positive effect rather than a negative effect, right? It says also in the legislation that regulations made under this section may in particular prescribe the category of persons to whom work may offer training and employment services, authorize the taking in relation to any person who is in custody of all such steps as may be necessary for photographing, measuring, taking the fingerprints of, or otherwise identifying that person in such manner as may be provided by this regulation. And I know that one listener this morning sent a WhatsApp message, which I didn't really get to ask the question in relation to fingerprinting as well. So the government can issue regulations that cover photographing, measuring, taking fingerprints, and otherwise identifying that person in such manner as may be prescribed. They may also prescribe the forms, notices, certificates, license, permits, warrants, books, registers, or any documents to be used and the particulars to be given in connection with the Act. They can prescribe different types of work permits which may be issued. Cabinet can do that through regulations. They can also prescribe the persons by whom they may be issued. They can prescribe the procedure relating to dealing with such permits. They can prescribe all other terms, conditions, and other matters which are connected with such permits. They may prescribe the financial standing requirements which persons holding certain types of permanent residence under this Act may have. They may prescribe the fees which are to be payable in respect of any application. They can prescribe the amount and nature of security to be furnished for the due carrying out of these conditions. So that repatriation fee that we talk about, that $200, they can increase that if they want as well. They can prescribe for the submission by a company, firm, or other business enterprise to the board the business staffing plans, prescribing, the granting, the contents of and procedures concerning such plans, and the method of granting work permits following approval of such plans. And you heard Mr. Leslie talk about that this morning as well. We have several calls on hold, so we're going to go to the phone lines. I believe the WhatsApp caller was first. Let's grab the WhatsApp caller. Good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Mr. Orrett Connor.
Hey, good afternoon. How are you?
Okay, sir. Who's the minister for culture?
The Honorable Johanny Ebanks, J. Ebanks, as we know him.
Okay. And how many acres of land does the government own in East End?
No idea.
Okay. I think it's a couple hundred acres from what I last heard.
Okay.
I read it in the newspaper. That was quite a while now. Probably about 4 years ago, I read this, that there was a shortage of coconuts in the world. And if the government is able to buy a machine like what Beacon Farm has, that crushes rocks, that people are able to farm their land. If the government does that and decides to use that land that they have in East End to start planting coconut trees, that they're able to sell when it comes to export. And also they're able to sell them locally also. And one thing about coconut trees, after they're grown for a certain amount of time, even if a hurricane comes, it's very hard for the hurricane to destroy a coconut tree, as it is easier for probably any other plant, such as mango trees and banana trees and pepper trees and those types of plants.
Yeah, because of their root system as well as the flexibility of the trunk.
Yeah, so the government needs to get more serious now in thinking of doing things when it comes to things like that. At least Cayman can say that we have something going on besides tourism and financial services.
Well, why not encourage the private sector to do it? And if anything, you subsidize them, give them some sort of concession to do it. Incentivize the private sector to do it rather than government.
Yeah, well, government can work with the private sector also, but government needs to use that land that they have in East End. Not just keep that land there and not using it for anything that is of good purpose. And I mean, they've had that land there now for quite a while. And it's not being used for anything useful.
Yeah, they've always had it. That's crown land.
Yeah, so it's time now for them to put that land to good use, make some money, planting coconut trees, thousands of coconut trees, because remember now, the Philippines is making plenty of money off coconuts. especially when it comes to export. So it's time now for the government now to use that land and do something useful with it. And like I said, you could have a Category 5 hurricane. Once those coconut trees are grown for a certain amount of time, they will still be there even after a hurricane. Thank you very much, Mr. Orrett Connor.
Thank you. Thank you very much, caller. We have a few callers. We'll take the commercial break now so that we don't have to interrupt the callers to do that break. Please stay tuned. Talk Today will be back shortly.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line. No more fussing with cash. Just a delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
This summer, choose from 10 international destinations for your vacation with Cayman Airways. Explore New York, discover Denver, roam Los Angeles, play in Tampa, shop in Miami, tour Panama, uncover Havana, hike in La Ceiba, jam in Kingston, or relax in Montego Bay. Connecting flights are also available from the sister islands. Cayman Airways offers more international non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline, and the lowest rates for checked bags. Book today at CaymanAirways.com, download our new mobile app, or call Cayman Airways reservations on 949-2311. Come fly with us and relax with your uniquely Caymanian airline.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Adelaide, what it is you have there in your hand looking at so intently on this porch?
These your shipping out papers, Paul. I saved them all these years. Don't know why.
Yes, they are important things that tell the story of us seamen. All the places we went and all the sacrifice we made.
And we sacrificed too. No man to help us manage the home, the grounds, the children. That was hard work. But what a joy it was when Annie came home.
Boy, Adelaide, we were brave people, stepping off of this beautiful rock onto the edge of the whole wide world. And you all here suddenly becoming financial managers and overseeing construction. Some strong women.
We set this country on the map for sure. Every bit of our modern foundation came from seamen's allotments and women's hands. I'm so excited we're going to be celebrated on July 10th at the Voices of the Sea, launching the Cayman Seafarers Registry. Come on, let's go pick out what we gonna wear. This can be a real figure. A good old time.
Celebrate Cayman at the Cabinet Office cordially invites one and all to come out to Voices of the Sea, launching the Cayman's Seafarers Registry to celebrate our seamen and our proud history of seafaring. Thursday, July 10th, 5:30 p.m. at the Veterans and Seamen's Association Hall in Cayman Brac.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. I'm your guest host, Orrett Connor. We still have a few callers on hold. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hey, good afternoon.
I hear you.
How are you?
I'm good, and just reflecting on that magnificent event the other night.
Yes.
Seafarers Registry. It was so impressive and even emotional. There were certain times I found myself just getting quite emotional. Like when I saw one of my brothers come up on the screen, and he looked like such a little boy. That was none other than the great Andy Martin. When I saw him, he looked like a boy, and I'm thinking, these poor little guys leaving an island like Cayman Brac at 15, 16, and venturing out into the big, wide world. It really is something that when we stop to think about it. And I'm so happy. I really am so happy that the seafarers are really getting the recognition they deserve, because it's indisputable as to how our progress got started, what started our modern day economy. It was the seafarers sending home their money, and that was also evidenced and cataloged there, that's the reason the first commercial bank came to Cayman, Barclays Bank.
But don't you agree that more Caymanians need to embrace it? You know, we are this morning, I really, put it, out there that, we're always talking about losing our identity and everything else. And when we get the opportunity to honor our people, we don't do it. And there are so many families in Cayman have been impacted by our seafarers. They should have all been out there. That hall should have been overflowing on Wednesday night.
I agree with you. I mean, I thought it was a pretty good turnout,
yes, it was.
All things considered. And obviously, Celebrate Cayman itself hadn't anticipated so much, because you remember it was scheduled to be in the historic section of the library, or the old library, as we would call it, we would say. So it was very good, but of course a lot more could have been there, which sort of brings me to the point of we will soon start hearing, and Celebrate Cayman can expect to receive their criticisms about why so-and-so is not on, and, all of that, because our people fail to take responsibility or ownership that we have to do something for ourselves. How would those people all know about everybody if some family member or acquaintance isn't providing the information,
Yep.
Yeah, we went through the same thing when I was at the Cultural Foundation, and we would be looking to award cultural icons and so and so. And then you'd hear, well, why didn't so-and-so who was doing this from time immemorial? And I'd go, but we didn't know. You knew, so you should have let us know. But that's how it is. But on one final thing, the web-based registry, I don't know if you've had a chance to go on, but it is so impressive. I mean, obviously, we're still building it or still adding it. So I think Alfonso, the chairman, the executive there from Celebrate Cayman, made it clear that it's an ongoing work. But I've been on and able to edit something already, and I just think it's just wonderful. I still get a little, I had 6 brothers all at home at one stage or the other. Went to see.
Wow.
Yeah, and to be able to go there and read about them, and even my late father, who, it was just, I get a little emotional. So we're gonna leave it alone now.
Okay. Thanks for calling in.
But a sterling job to Celebrate Cayman and all who were involved in that. It was a very, very, I can only imagine how time intensive, but they've done an excellent job.
They have.
So congrats to all. Thank you.
They have. Thank you. Thank you very much, callers. Well, do we still have other callers in hold? And a caller in hold? Let's grab the next caller. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing good. I were I don't know. You said you was continuing off from this morning's discussion.
Yeah. If we want to continue, yeah, I can certainly allot more time now for those persons who want to expand on the conversation. Yes.
Yeah, but also I wanted to add in something that I was also interested in. You know, as you know, I always talking about our air quality. Thankfully, that Compass this morning came up with an article that I was very fascinated about, because as much as I know about this is just only a few factors of the air quality that we are getting right now.
Yeah, I'm getting a buzzing. We're getting a buzzing in the background. Can hardly hear you at times. Something buzzing, like a feedback.
You hear me good now?
Yep, much better.
All right. Sorry, that earphones that I'm on. So what I was saying is I hope everybody getting enough iron and phosphorus in our systems. And really and truly what's going on with the world, like, not saying Cayman, but in the East, in the Middle East, and with all the wars and whatnot, you know, I am a man that like to speculate a little bit, but I also like to stay real. And if we don't have certain answers, we can only speculate when we have questions, right? So with all this air quality that we're frequently seeing, because I remember my first time hearing about the Sahara dust was like 2022, maybe 21, when after the COVID started, and I remember how the sun looked and how the atmosphere had looked and all those type of things. Right now, I know we have this thing called geoengineering that going on, and I don't know if the practice is just affecting the globe, but I know we have this whole entire global goals, and I don't know if it's really healthy for us as human beings. I don't know if it's really as healthy for the plants and animals that rely on the sunlight as well. And we talk about coral bleaching and loss of our corals in our environment, and it's a lot of things are going on. So I just wanted to be share a little bit opinions that I got going on where we are interfering in nature. Not me, not you, but we're participating in it. We're participating in it. It's global experiments. But because we got rich people that got intelligent people behind the scenes, they know what they're doing. Because I see also in that thing, you know, the part on the article where it says the extra particles in the atmosphere that can contribute to beautiful sunsets. Yeah. Anyways, that part where we were talking about this morning, right? I don't like the idea that we would prioritize certain things and then we would more or less ignore others, because if I heard correctly, we all can't disagree with making speeding in a no-wake zone a criminal offense anymore, which I agree as well. You know, but just to think that was a no-brainer, that the other one, when it came into the year-round nice program, to me, I don't understand what was the problem. As much as the minister explained, I get it, but this is a significant minority of the minority. Like, very small thing we asking for. A very, very, and I don't even think it scratches the budgets that I see going out there that are proposing to us that we might not see until the next 10 years, right? And this is something that would start next year, that we could possibly see less people on the street doing idle things. And I advocate for safety. And I think the less that we can have people begging for money and coming up to you desperate to do something stupid, because you got people robbing left, right, and center right now, and people still can't even believe that you can't leave your car open in the middle of the parking lot anymore. What the hell is going on in the safest country in the world, or one of the safest? I'd like to know. So when it comes into unemployment rate, I think that NICE program would also, the year-long NICE program, they need to look back at that. It would be like, hey, we made a mistake. We need to look back at it. Give it like another month. Because that still is a good idea, yo. I don't know why it is that it never really become a good idea to certain people, but I don't know. I would like to hear from those people that don't think it's a good idea, and I'm talking about all 9 of those people that disagreed. We should get a little bit more information why we think it is a terrible idea or a bad idea that we shouldn't do that program, because if it makes sense to hire 3 people to struggle and take care of the whole entire garbage issue that we got on this island because we only got 2 trucks or 3 trucks operational, I don't know why it is that they can't just have a minion of people that are willing to go and do something for a half a day.
Mm-hmm. And you're talking about now on a more on a full-time basis as opposed to just 2 times a year, basically, which is what it's now. Okay.
And look here, these people are in. They start from the people that doing the NAU business. That in the NAU, start from that. Just as an option, we got a good permanent position, and if you can advance in your skills, we'll give you an opportunity for something else. That's what I would think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what I would think. I wouldn't want to sit down thinking that I can depend on the government the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, we have to go off to our 1 o'clock news, but if you want to call back, please feel free to do that. A few more things about immigration that I'm going to talk about as well, so please feel free to do that. Sorry we have to go to the news at this point in time, folks. Please stay tuned. Talk today. We'll be back shortly.
Since 1976.
Covering Grand Cayman, Little Cayman, Cayman Brack. 1 small step for man, 1 giant leap for mankind.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankins-Ollins. The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service reminds the public of road closures taking place on Saturday, June 28th, to facilitate the safe and orderly procession of the Cayman Pride Parade. The rolling closure will begin at the parade's starting point at XQ's restaurant on West Bay Road and progress in coordination with the movement of participants. Once the parade has safely passed a particular section, that segment of the roadway will be promptly reopened to vehicular traffic to minimize disruption to the public. These closures will be in effect from approximately 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. In international news, the Supreme Court on Friday handed a significant victory to Donald Trump and future American presidents when curbing lower courts' power to block executive orders. President Trump was beaming as he addressed reporters at the White House briefing room podium, calling it a big, amazing decision, which the administration is very happy about. He said it was a monumental victory for the Constitution, the separation of powers, and the rule of law. The court's decision not only impacts Trump's birthright citizenship order, but also emboldens him to enact many of his other policy actions that have been temporarily thwarted by similar injunctions. Lawyers for the defense have started giving their closing arguments in the Sean Diddy Combs criminal trial in New York. Yesterday, the prosecution argued to the jury that Combs is the leader of a criminal enterprise who used violence and fear in brutal crimes. Combs is charged with sex trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. The jury has heard from 34 witnesses, including ex-girlfriends, former employees of Combs, male escorts, and federal agents. Combs denies all charges. If found guilty, he could spend the rest of his life in prison. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankins-Ollins.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Do you have a healthcare question but not sure who to ask? Contact HSA's Patient Call Center to speak to one of our experienced clinical team members. We are here to answer your questions and help guide you through your healthcare journey. Need to make an appointment? Our team can help. Contact HSA at 949-8600 or email info@hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. I am your guest host, Orrett Connor. No guest in the studio. One of our listeners inquired, says, please, can you explain this to me? If a child or children are born in the Cayman Islands, what nationality are those children? First of all, let me say that nationality issues, that means that you determining what country you are a citizen of, citizenship. First of all, let us not confuse citizenship with Caymanian status, because Caymanian status is not a citizenship, not a type of citizenship. It's not citizenship at all. So, or nationality, well, what nationality you are determined to be, are either addressed in the British Nationality Act, which would relate to British Overseas Territories citizen, or to your particular country's nationality legislation as well. And what I mean by that is, let's say if you are a citizen of the United States and you have a child born to you, then the United States laws in relation to citizenship would apply to that child as to how that child would acquire citizenship. Likewise for any other country. So there are persons who are born in Cayman and don't necessarily acquire British Overseas Territories citizenship. So their parents have to then apply for citizenship in whatever country they are from. They get the passport for the child based on that and everything else. Now, for a child born in the Cayman Islands, here's what the British Nationality Act, and this is a 1981 act that has been amended on several occasions. And it says, Section 18, subsection 1 says that a person born in a British Overseas Territory, any of the 14 remaining British Overseas Territories and other territories that they have, a person born in a British Overseas Territory after the commencement of the Act shall be a British Overseas Territory citizen if at the time of the birth, his mother or father. So first of all, you have to be, if you're born in the territory, right? And at the time that you were born in the territory, your father or mother is a British Overseas Territory citizen or settled in a British Overseas Territory. Let's dive a little deeper into that. All right, so the father or the mother, and first let me also point out something. Prior to 19 1981, I think the act was then known as the British Nationality Act 1948, you could only acquire citizenship through your father, not your mother. So it was a very paternal society, and of course, the British, everything was male dominated. So up until this time, 1981, and it actually came into effect on the 1st of January 1983, if you had a mother or a father who was a British Overseas Territories citizen and you were born in an overseas territory, let's say use the Cayman Islands as an example. If you were born in the Cayman Islands, you then were a British Overseas Territory citizen, and based on that, you could acquire a British passport that says Cayman Islands. And going even further, in 2002, you also could acquire, were identified as a British citizen, and you could get a British passport as well. So one condition was that at the time of your birth, your mother or father was a British Overseas Territory citizen, or, here's another way that you could qualify, or if they were settled in the British Overseas Territory. Now, what does settled mean? Settled means that you are living in the country, you are in the country, and your immigration status is such that there is no limitation on the time that you may remain in the territory. What does that mean? No limitation on the time that you may remain in the territory. So if you're on a work permit, the work permit says it's issued for 1 year, for 2 years, or it could be a temporary for 3 months or for 6 months. That period of time is a limitation. As long as there's time attached to it, there is a limitation. Okay? If you have permanent residence, even permanent residence with the right to work, because permanent residence has no time limit on it. It doesn't say it's for 2 years, even though there's some types of residency that were in place. I'm not sure whether or not they're still in place, where you had residence for 25 years, you could get it. And I guess you could seek to renew it after those 25 years. The reason for having that 25 years was it placed a time limit on it. So those persons could not qualify or could not be deemed to be settled in the territory because we had years attached to it, 25 years, right? So if you have permanent residence, there's no time limit on it, but there is a type of permanent residency that gives you up to 25 years. So if you were born in the territory of a mother or a father who is a British Overseas Territory citizen, or a mother and a father who is settled, which mainly means having permanent residence, then you are a British Overseas Territory citizen. Remember what I said, folks. Do not confuse nationality, British Overseas Territory citizenship, with Caymanian status. They are separate entities, completely separate. Right? They're separate. One, you acquire it through legislation that we have no control over. That is the British Nationality Act. That is where you acquire British Overseas Territory citizenship. That's where you acquire citizenship. You acquire status by virtue of our immigration laws, the Immigration Act, the one that we want to change and call it the Caymanian, rename it the Caymanian Protection Law or Protection Act. that is where you acquire status. You can have one and not necessarily have the other. Folks, that is why it takes a Philadelphia lawyer in the Cayman Islands to figure these things out. They're not simple because we have two pieces of legislation that govern your citizenship and your right to remain permanently in the Cayman Islands. So again, for the person who inquired about it, right, British Nationality Act says that if you were born in a British overseas territory after the commencement of the act, if you had a mother or a father who were British overseas territory citizen, then you were a British overseas territory citizen, or if they were settled in the territory as well. Also, further down in the legislation, it talks about the fact that a person born in a British overseas territory after commencement, so after the law came into effect after the 1st of January 1983, who is not a British overseas territory citizen by virtue of what I just said about having a parent who's a British overseas territory citizen or a parent settled in the territory, then that person shall be entitled, the person is entitled to be registered as citizenship while he is a minor, if his father or mother becomes such a citizen or becomes settled in a British overseas territory, and an application is made for his registration as such a citizen. So if you were born here, but at the time of your birth you didn't automatically acquire citizenship through your parent, but if your parent later on became settled or became a British overseas territory citizen while you were a minor, while you are still a minor, then you can make an application to be registered as a British overseas territories citizen. Again, folks, legislation that we have no say in whatsoever. We have no say in whatsoever in that regard. And then there's another section that talks about a person born in a British overseas territory after commencement who is not a British overseas territory citizen by virtue, we covered that already, but by virtue of subsection 1 or 2, shall be entitled on an application for his registration as a British overseas territory citizen made at any time after he has attained the age of 10. So after the age of 10, that application can be made to be registered as such a citizen if, as regards to such of the first 10 years of that person's life, the number of days on which he was absent from that territory in that year does not exceed 90. So it gets a little bit more complicated there, folks, when it comes to that part of it. That's where you need a Philadelphia lawyer, or, we can call him. Certainly you don't want a jailhouse lawyer to be on this one. You need a Philadelphia lawyer or one of those high society lawyers to deal, with that part of it. And then it talks about adoption and things of that nature as well. Folks, as usual, we know how the British is. They like to make things as complicated as they possibly could, starting with the fact that at one point in time, because it was patriarchal society, you obtained everything through your father, then British started to get a little bit, I guess in this day and age you would call it woke. They got a little bit woke and say, you know what? Well, there were lots of challenges, and as well as the fact that the legislation wasn't really keeping up, with the times. So then they allowed you to acquire citizenship through your mother as well. But trust me, I've worked with this legislation for many years. It put so many people in so many difficult situations, and they will talk about the fact that, we want to ensure that we don't split up families and we don't do this and we do that. And that is exactly what was done, as well. One family member having one particular status, and because someone else was born later on, they didn't qualify. Lots of divisions, within families when it came to the various statuses of each child as well. So don't blame our legislators. Don't blame our cabinet for anything that comes out of the British Nationality Act. That's dealt with by the British. They do it when they feel that is convenient to do so, or when they feel that they are, to a certain extent, being embarrassed by the type of legislation they had. When the British offered us British citizenship in 2002, do you know all of the calculations that they went through with that before making that offer? And the overseas territories had to make it quite clear that while you are conferring British citizenship upon us, or opening the door for future persons to acquire British citizenship, we can't do the same thing for you. So don't expect a Brit. Don't expect us to reciprocate so that a Brit has automatically British Overseas Territory citizenship as well. They calculated at that point in time, I believe, that the population of all of the overseas territories that would be affected by it was something like about 144,000 individuals, about 144,000 in 2002. So they could afford to do it. Because when you ask yourself the question, while we did acquire, some did acquire British citizenship, how many actually chose to go and reside in the United Kingdom? Not many, folks. That British passport was a convenience in several ways. Number one, you didn't then have to apply for the Schengen visa if you wanted to travel throughout Europe. Remember that visa that was in place where you had to at least have a visa for the first country that you were entering. So if you had a British Overseas Territories passport, a Cayman Islands passport, and you were going to Italy, Switzerland, those places, but you were entering Europe through France first, you had to have a visa for at least France to be able to enter those other Schengen countries. So it was a convenience, because if you had a British passport, you didn't need to do that. Having a British passport also meant that you didn't require a visa for the United States, because you fell under the ESTA program and you could do that as well. So there were benefits to it. But the British calculated that even if the 144,000 persons all decided that because of our British citizenship now we're going to all move to the United Kingdom, it would not have impacted them that much. That is why they could have done, and that's why they did what they did in 2002 by giving us that status. They call it Partnership for Progress and Prosperity. Made them look good, and I must say people did take advantage of it. I took advantage of it. I was in 2003, I was in the UK, and of course had to go over to Belgium, to Brussels, for meetings. And if I traveled on my Cayman Islands passport, British passport, but says Cayman Islands in it because it's a British dependent territory citizen or British overseas territory citizen passport, I would require a visa. Those days it was pretty easy. You could go down to the passport office, all of my documentation, and you pay an extra fee, and you could have your passport in 8 hours. So I took advantage of it simply because otherwise I would have to get a visa to go to Brussels. And to get a visa to go to Brussels, you know what? Where I had to apply? Back in the Caribbean, where I was from. So that was extremely difficult. I still use a British passport at times. Don't have to worry about going to Jamaica to get a U.S. visa. Just waiting now until I get old enough where you don't have to go in person at all to get that. I haven't reached that age yet, even though I'm getting old. But I haven't reached that age yet. But it is a convenience. But my message, my point is that the risks involved were so low in terms of granting British citizenship to all of the overseas territories, 144,000 people. That was low risk. They could absorb us easily into their system if they wanted to. So, folks, that is part of the history of British citizenship in the Cayman Islands. But the key point that we need to understand, and those persons who continuously ask the question, when it comes to Caymanian status, that is governed by our Immigration Act, our local legislation that is passed by our Parliament, even though it has to be assented to by the UK. When it comes to nationality, your ability to hold a passport, even a Cayman passport, British passport that says Cayman Islands, that is the British Nationality Act, something over which we have absolutely no control. We do have a caller. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today. Okay, call cut. You want to go to the commercial now, Paul? Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, the phone lines are open. 1-800-534-8255, 949-8037, 949-6990. WhatsApp 925-3261.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Protect your computers and mobile devices with security software to defend against cyber attacks through viruses, malware, and other online threats. Be aware of unsecure Wi-Fi connections when in public. If you need to access your online banking or sensitive information on your mobile devices, try disabling the Wi-Fi and switching to data from your mobile network. If you suspect a fraud attempt, please contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Subway and Oreo has changed the dessert game. Introducing the Oreo Footlong Cookie, a full 12 inches of chocolatey, creamy goodness. It's big, it's bold, and it's here for a limited time. Perfect for sharing or not. We won't judge. Want it fast? Order ahead with the Subway Cayman Islands app for quick pickup and earn loyalty points. Or get it delivered straight to your door with Bento and Let's Eat. Don't wait. Treat yourself today. The Oreo Footlong Cookie is calling your name. Subway. Eat fresh. Snack sweet.
This summer, choose from 10 international destinations for your vacation with Cayman Airways. Explore New York, discover Denver, roam Los Angeles, play in Tampa, shop in Miami, tour Panama, uncover Havana, hike in La Ceiba, jam in Kingston, or relax in Montego Bay. Connecting flights are also available from the sister islands. Cayman Airways offers more international non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline, and the lowest rates for checked bags. Book today at CaymanAirways.com, download our new mobile app, or call Cayman Airways reservations on 949-2311. Come fly with us and relax with your uniquely Caymanian airline.
Get ready, the fire of revival is coming. It's the great evangelistic campaign, Cayman Islands under the power of the Holy Ghost. Guest speaker Apostle Jose Duarte from Paraguay will be ministering throughout Grand Cayman, bringing a powerful word and the anointing of the Holy Spirit. Services begin Friday, June 27 at First Assembly of God and run through June 9. Don't miss the services in West Bay on June 30 and July 1 at Heritage Park, and in Bordentown on July 3 at Public Beach. Come for healing, come for breakthrough, come experience the power of the Holy Ghost. For full schedule details, call Sister Vilma Hawkins at 923-8954.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skin care, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drportercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
J.A. Roy Bawden, in association with Ian Randall Publishers, cordially invites you to the launch of his second volume on the study of Caymanian society, Deconstructing Development, Immigration, Society and Economy in Early 21st Century Cayman. The book launch will be held at the Sir Vassal Johnson Hall, University College of the Cayman Islands, on Saturday, the 5th of July at 6 p.m. Refreshments, book sales and signing to follow immediately after the launching ceremony. The full complement of J.A. Roy Bawden's published works will also be on sale. The first 50 attendees will receive a complimentary copy of one of the author's previously published works.
Healthcare Pharmacy, caring about your health for the past 25 years. Radio Cayman's premier health show.
Alzheimer's and dementia, are they the same disorder?
Yeah, I think that's a very important question.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Is heard on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. and on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy in Grand Harbor, where they care about your health. Transfer and refill your prescription online. Visit healthcarepharmacy.com or call 947-8900. Healthcare Pharmacy, now with a second location in Governor's Square. Healthcare Pharmacy, where they care about your health. Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. We have a caller on hold. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Connor.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. I have a question. How old do you have to be that you don't have to go Jamaica for this visa? How old you have to be that you can send?
I believe, I'll double check it, but I believe it is like somewhere in the 80s.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's pretty old. I was almost inclined to say 75, but I believe it's even older than that you don't have to show in person.
Well, we still not that age. When in the 80s, some people in the 80s can't hardly move. What your way, I need a visa to go.
True.
Then I read it should be at least when you turn senior, the age of senior, then I easy.
Yeah, I'll during the commercial break or whatever, I'll Google it and see what I can find and share it on air as well.
And another thing, somebody was telling me that you can't go by everything you hear. That's why I like to get it from the horse's mouth. Because I think my visa was up. The last one I had issued in 2015. I think it was up in 2000 I think it was in 2015, the last one. But then they say about that too old too, that you still have to go in person. If it was just a year or two, your problem could send it, but because I know a friend of mine send theirs, and they send theirs, and they hurt them, their husband, and me and her the same age, and she get the 10 year, and the little boy kids they only give 5, but I don't know, I didn't want to take the chance. Then they had told me from the passport office about if you send for the visa and you get refused, then they can't, or if they refuse you the visa, they can't give you the waiver. And then another thing I was saying, well, you just stick with what you got, I guess, because if you get refused, then you won't be able to go at all unless, well, you get American passport or something. But, then I said, well, I would stick with the waiver because I don't really have a British passport that you can go on the ESTA, but then I don't know, it sounds very complicated to me, so I don't know what to do. But the visa to me is better because if you want to pick up, like say on a Friday or on a Saturday, and say you want to go, but then I guess Trump rights will mess up that you probably won't be able to go nowhere neither. So I don't know what to do. The world is in a mess.
Yeah, I think what you mentioned earlier about the I think the 1 or 2 year period, if you hadn't applied for another one, that you have to go in person. Because remember now, we refer to it as renewing a visa, but it's not really a renewal. You're getting a brand new one all over again. It's not a renewal.
Then from 2015, that's a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, 2025, and then there's another thing, but then I have passport, the old passport, to show that I've had. Well, I guess they got a record there too that that you had, because that would have been my second. Because I remember when you used to get indefinite, that they had recalled them back. Well, I had that too, and then after I recalled it back, then I had get the 10 years, and then when that expired, then they went back. So I don't know. It don't mean, I guess, that you had, because it depends, I guess, the mood they in, or if they want to issue it to you, I guess it can be turned on. I don't know. They're not guaranteed that you're going to get it because you had before. So I don't know. I guess I just stick with what I can still on the way west.
Okay. Caller, you there still? Here it says if you are age 13 or younger, you're generally not required to do an interview. Between ages 14 and 79, you're required, but they do make some exceptions and they refer to renewals for renewals, right? And then age 80 and older, you're generally not required for an interview.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So that's coming right off of the State Department's website in relation to it. So if you're age 13 and younger, you're generally not required to have an interview in person. 14 to 79, required. Some exceptions are made for renewals, but they haven't said what those exceptions are. And then age 80 and older, generally not required. You should generally schedule an appointment for your visa interview at the U.S. Embassy or consulate in the country where you live. You may schedule your interview at another U.S. Embassy or consulate where you will be present. But be aware that in some cases it may be more difficult to demonstrate your qualification for a visa outside of the country where you live. And of course, here in Cayman, we don't have a U.S. Consular embassy here, so our nearest one is Jamaica, even though people have been asking why we can't have one. And we know that the government, as the governor's office, have been trying, but the United States, they have determined that because of the costs associated, with it, that can't happen. What used to happen before, when they would come here, visit you, interview you, and then you would send your passport off or take your passports and send it back to you. All of those facilities no longer in place. That was when Cayman was Cayman, and all of the good things used to happen.
I just tell one guy that out Foster last night that Cayman, not Cayman no more. I say it's not as bad as other places, because it's the best place that you can say in the world. That's why we got so much people. Heck, when they come, they don't want to leave, but it's still not as good as what used to be back in the 60s. I say, because when my bosses said they had mosquito killing turtle and cow, I say, but it's still better than other places, but it's still not as good as it used to be. Let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. But then one more thing, I know people used to go Bahamas some time ago to get it too, but then I've heard that they were telling them in the Bahamas, because, most people used to go Jamaica. That is closer to us. And then, but people had started going Bahamas when they understand that they could get American visa issue there, but then they had issue a few people, but then afterward I heard that they were telling you, why didn't you go where we used to go before? Like, in other words, they refer you to go Jamaica, and they turned down a few people, which I don't know if it's true.
Yeah, because we started to see a trend where more and more people were going to the Bahamas.
Yeah, I understand that, yeah.
When it was the occasional application, then it was okay, but yeah.
And then, but one more thing,
okay.
This child they older than 14, that I know of, I could be wrong, but I can ask my friend, but I think older than 13, and they saying there the other day, and they get 5 years. So I don't know. I understand it. But
okay,
anyway.
but again, that may have been a renewal.
I guess no, this was
first time.
That wasn't a renewal.
Okay, well, what they say here is generally required. It didn't say absolutely required, generally required. So I guess they can make exceptions. There's some flexibility there.
Yeah. Like I say, if they feel like giving it, they give it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whatever. But I can't see about, because like I say, I guess they think if you get in your 80s, you're not swinging all your marbles. But my mother was 98 when she died, and she was swinging hers. Mm-hmm. And her mother was 103, 90, and she was swinging hers. They had everything.
Runs in the family. Good for you.
Yep. I don't know if I swing mine, but anyway.
Keep trying. Stay positive.
Right now, I have more pains than my mother had, and more problems. But I guess it's what we eat and it's what they used to.
Yeah.
Front days. So what's new? But anyway, I thank God to be alive.
Certainly, yes.
Anyway, you have a nice weekend.
Thank you. You do the same, and please stay safe as well.
Okay.
I think we can grab the WhatsApp caller before we go to our next commercial break. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Mr. O.C., how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. Your show this morning was very interesting to hear all the things that you was hearing. Mm-hmm. I know you live here for so long, and you don't know nothing to a degree what's going to happen,
Yeah.
But it was a pretty good discussion and keeping us informed what's going to be happening soon with us and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But what I call for too is you there?
Yes. Yeah, listening, waiting for you.
I'm losing my balance there. I lost my thought. I was doing something. Lost my thought.
Take your time. If you want to hold on, we'll go to a commercial break. Give you an opportunity to gather to gather your thoughts. Stay on the line. Just we'll go to the break and then we'll come back to you. Okay?
Yeah, I do just that. Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
Sure, no problem.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Get ready, the fire of revival is coming. It's the great evangelistic campaign, Cayman Islands under the power of the Holy Ghost. Guest speaker Apostle Jose Duarte from Paraguay will be ministering throughout Grand Cayman, bringing a powerful word and the anointing of the Holy Spirit. Services begin Friday, June 27 at First Assembly of God and run through June 9. Don't miss the services in West Bay on June 30 and July 1 at Heritage Park and in Bordentown on July 3 at Public Beach. Come for healing, come for breakthrough, come experience the power of the Holy Ghost. For full schedule details, call Sister Vilma Hawkins at 923-8954.
Hungry? Need Subway any time of the day?
Yeah.
We've got you covered. Subway at Anderson Square, Centennial Towers, and Countryside Shopping Village is open 24/7, serving up fresh, delicious subs anytime you need them. And for your weekend cravings, West Shore Center is also open 24 hours on Friday nights and until 1 a.m. on Saturdays, because it's never too late for a great meal. Skip the line and order ahead with the Subway Cayman Islands app, or get your favorites delivered straight to your door with Bento and Let's Eat. Fresh, fast, and always here when you need us. Subway, eat fresh.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Join us on July 10th at 5:30 p.m. for the BRAC launch of the Seamen's Registry at the Veterans and Seamen's Association Hall, as Celebrate Cayman invites seamen and their families to honor the vital contributions of our seafaring community to the Cayman Islands. Experience historical displays, hear inspiring speakers, and explore interactive exhibits. Plus, be among the first to visit the new Seafarers Registry website. Mark your calendars for July 10th. Exhibitions and activities will continue through July 12th. Let's come together to celebrate our maritime heritage.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. We're going to rejoin our caller on WhatsApp. Caller, good afternoon. Still there?
I was delivering one lunch.
Okay.
And it just took away all of my thoughts.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. Yes, like I was saying, you know, this morning was a very encouraging information for the people of these islands to accept and say, well, you know what, we think we're going to get some help once and for all, and, you know, straight across the board. But I just feel like there will be a lot of hiccups because people's going to come across with all kind of ideas. Well, you know, I heard I'm stressed it this morning, you know, if the forms are not fully put together, it really makes sense to send it in. You know what I mean? But this island has been taken for a fool for years. And I guess a lot of people never thought that we will wake up one day to say that we need to try to get some things rolling in this island to benefit who they come here and find. I know we will need some work permit holders, in this island. But some of the work permit holders that is holding a work permit is really, really uncalled for. The simplest of the simplest job or no job, And I just take my hat off to those three gentlemen this morning that they'll get something done. We're not here going to throw no stones to the fact that they're going to tell us, oh, we need them. Well, we need some, yes, and I'm quite sure we will try to scan to the best of our ability who would fit to sit in this island, that will have some love and care and concern for this island, because Cayman is becoming a garbage dump on every road, every corner, the yards, especially the rental yards. I don't know what some of the landlords are thinking, that when they rent their places to these people, that they're not keeping it clean. They're waiting for the landlord to come and clean it. And when I say come and clean it, well, I know the landlord's in charge of having the lawn cut and that kind of stuff, But when they got to go and bring all this garbage from else places and pack it up in a rental place, it is really, really not it's uncalled for. And sometimes I say, and I'm gonna say it loud, some of these landlords just so caught up into the receiving the rent, they're not even maintaining their buildings and so forth. You see people crawling out of holes there in the morning, going to work and coming out nice and clean. But we don't know what kind of environment they're living in. If they got proper water and electricity and fans, and they're seeing that kind of way. But yet they want $1,000 for a one bedroom with half a bath that share with somebody else, and probably share the kitchen with somebody else, in the next room somebody stays.
You sure you can find anything at that rate, at $1,000 now? You sure?
Very few. It's $1,500 and $1,800 now for one bedroom throughout the whole area, the whole island, and it is ridiculous to see that we have to come to this. And I just hope that we'll be able to do a clean and comfortable transition with whatever has to be done through this immigration system. There'll be no stones being unturned, and no stones being thrown at us and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Because if we can get some fire back, I can tell you that right now. There can be some firing back here in this island.
Oh yeah, I'll get some pushback. We just got to trust God that they'll understand where we're coming from, and must realize that they were just passing through here. We're passing through Cayman too, but we are from Cayman, but they're passing through to build where they're coming from. And I tell you one thing, I don't think that it's all that has came here. If 10 people now end up building something somewhere at their leisure from working here in the Cayman Islands, they work and they made their money. And there's so much stuff under the counter going on with these work permits and so forth. And it needs to be under control. And like I told you guys this morning, that was the sweetest music I've heard in a long time since Merengue days. And I'll leave you at that. Okay.
You have a great one.
Thank you. You too. Have a good weekend. Good. Stay safe. Okay.
Bye-bye.
One of our listeners said one big and easy control government could introduce in days is to make marriage bans published in the Gazette or government websites, and for double the time in advance. This would deter marriages of convenience. Those of you who are familiar with it, remember there was basically one notice board, and that was located at the courthouse, which is the old courthouse, which is now the National Museum. And there was a notice board there where marriage bans were published, and all other government notices were published. And then, of course, we had the Gazette and everything else. So this person is advocating for bans to be published. The publication period of time should be longer to deter marriages of convenience. I believe that there are other instructions that are given to marriage officers too as well, in terms of encouraging counseling prior to marriage, ensuring that the immigration status of the applicants are all in place as well. Person says go on to say, talk about Jamaican visas are waived coming to Cayman for kids and 60 plus year old residents, yet there is no reciprocal arrangement for Caymanian students, kids, or elderly going to Jamaica. This is poor negotiations by our government. Yes, when we imposed the visa regime on Jamaicans, Jamaica reciprocated and imposed the same visa regime on us. After some lobbying, our government relented of sorts and reduced or amended some of those requirements, but Jamaica has not done the same for us. One could look at it in this way. Maybe Jamaica's retention of all of the requirements has to do with gaining revenue from it, while our imposition of visas were done to ensure that we had some control over who came, when they came, and for how long they could stay as well. So ours was more of a security concern, while one could view Jamaica's as being a revenue earning measure as well. Could be different, but it could also be viewed that way. So I want to thank the caller for that. And maybe if we tried renegotiating and let's see what they come back with, let's see what they say in relation to that as well. So earlier when I started the show, I pointed out to you that in addition to changing legislation, that the Cabinet of the Cayman Islands can issue regulations, public regulations for the Director of Work Board and all of the boards, the Work Permit Board, Business Staffing Plan Board, Cayman Status and Residency Board as well, that it could do all of those things. They also can issue directions to boards and the Immigration Appeals Tribunal. So what Section 73 of our Immigration Act says that the Cabinet may issue policy directions to the board and the Immigration Appeals Tribunal for their guidance in the exercise of their respective powers, duties, and functions under this Act. And it shall be the duty of the board and the Immigration Appeals Tribunal to put this into effect and to carry out such directions. So going back to the, I think a call may be coming in on our WhatsApp number. And we have a caller on hold. Let's grab the caller that's on hold, and then we'll go to our 2 o'clock news. Then we'll take the other caller. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today.
Hello?
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, Mr. Connor. I never know when it's my turn. You have to start saying tell them to tell you the last 4 numbers of the number.
No, well, if we distinguish we distinguish between the WhatsApp caller and the other landline caller.
Okay. I wanted to get on this morning and say what a great show it was with all of you there. Who better to host such a panel was yourself, one of our historians, being a chief immigration officer.
Thank you.
I don't think anyone has any better reputation as a chief immigration officer than Mr. Bostock and Mr. Manderson. But it was a great discussion this morning, and I'm glad to see that we have a minister who took the initiative to interact with the board and get on publicly to have this discussion, and the right person to have amongst it was yourself. I was glad to hear when I turned on that you were making the distinction between a person being able to derive British dependent territory citizenship through the UK. Am I correct? And being able to derive Caymanian status, and that those were two different things, right? And so I was glad to hear that was taking place, because I often have some tussles explaining those two things with people, because a lot of people, and I don't necessarily think it's Caymanians, but a lot of Caymanians do too. And even myself, I still don't understand the full scope of the distinctions. But you did a very, very good job of describing and giving us the information about what it both means. And I just made a video Wednesday and this morning also about the national ID card. I don't know if you've heard, but I'm trying to promote encouraging our government to go back and revisit the National ID Act.
That's good.
In hopes of trying to bring that I forgot the word now, but anyway, to put that in force. That's what I want to say. And so that was one of the things I forgot to put in my first video that I went online and added that, because one of the prime core features of the ID card is to help differentiate. Well, I shouldn't use the word differentiate, but to help identify, and especially for our Caymanians, it will better save us a lot of time having to go to work and apply for letters, to recognize as being a person being of Caymanian. It saves a lot of time. And it also it's also the document for persons who can't get passports, who can't get driver's license, who can't get a voter ID, persons that may be on island who their own identifications from their countries might have expired and they're not able to go back to their countries to renew right away. All that can come into play with getting a national ID. And I did say, persons who are advocating against the National ID Act needs to be fair and reasonable and recognize this is something that is going to be inevitable, because it's the way that the world is evolving and technology is evolving, but it also is a one-stop identification for anyone across the board, and it will make streamlining. It'll make life so much simpler to have that ID. If anything happens, you're able to have that. It's a streamline. You can go get your mortgage. It's such a, like I said, I did a video on it. I'm not going to hold you up with that. But the reason why I was, mentioning that, like I said, is because I heard you making the distinction.
Okay.
And we want Caymanians to know, we want work permit holders to know that this card, and it's all voluntary according to the Act. It's not something that's mandatory. And we want people to know it will be a good decision if the government decides to enforce it, put it into force, not enforce it, but put it into force, means that, to activate the Act and make it, make it live. But it'll be a benefit to all who decides to take advantage of it, because it's like I said, a one-stop form of identification, and it has all of your information there. Forget about whether it's going to be, all your private information is going to be in a database. All of our private information
is already there,
databases everywhere we turn. I mean, all of our business are all over social media. Your driver's license, everything all your business is already in databases. So I appreciate that you did that. I don't know. I didn't hear why you decided to talk about that, but I'm glad that you did. And want to encourage everyone to go to their MPs and encourage them to revisit this and finally make the decision to say this is what Cayman wants, because it's going to be a benefit to all of us in the long run.
Okay, thank you very much, caller. We have to go to our 2:00 news. Sorry to interrupt you there, but I've gone 3 minutes over on that. Folks, please stay tuned. Talk today. We'll be back shortly.
This is the People's Radio Station. Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines.
The headline news is brought to you by Kirk Market.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankins-Ollins. The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service reminds the public of road closures taking place on Saturday, June 28th, to facilitate the safe and orderly procession of the Cayman Pride Parade. The rolling closure will begin at the parade's starting point at XQ's restaurant on West Bay Road and progress in coordination with the movement of participants. Once the parade has safely passed a particular section, that segment of the roadway will be promptly reopened to vehicular traffic to minimize disruption to the public. These closures will be in effect from approximately 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. In international news, U.S. President Donald Trump has said he is cutting off trade talks with Canada immediately as the country looks to start enforcing a tax policy targeting big tech companies. The latest move, which he announced on social media, comes as the neighboring nations have been working to agree a trade deal by mid-July. Both countries have imposed tariffs on each other's goods after Trump sparked a trade war earlier this year and threatened to annex Canada using economic force. On Friday, the U.S. president said he was ending talks due to what he called an egregious tax on tech companies. He said he would announce new tariffs on goods crossing the border within the next week. We are hereby terminating all discussions on trade with Canada effective immediately, he wrote on social media. We will let Canada know the tariff that they will be paying to do business with the United States of America within the next 7-day period. Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo have signed a peace deal in Washington aimed at ending decades of devastating conflict between the two neighbors and potentially granting the U.S. lucrative mineral access. The deal demands the disengagement, disarmament, and conditional integration of armed groups fighting in eastern DR Congo. Further details are scant, and previous peace deals in the region have failed. Yet, that has not deterred the U.S. and Congolese presidents from framing this as a generational victory. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankins-Ollins.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Radio Cayman Talk Today continues.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. I'm your guest host, Orrett Connor. We have about 25 minutes left to go, 24 minutes left to go in the show. Just to remind you that at 2 p.m., the proceedings in our parliament commenced. Not urging you to switch from Talk Today, but if you want to follow that live, you go to our Breeze 105.3 Breeze 105.3 FM. We are carrying it live on Radio Cayman. Some of the things that will be taking place, for instance, there will be a presentation of papers and report. We will have the report of the Standing Business Committee. We will have the report, the Office of the Auditor General, Cayman Islands Annual Report, 31st of December 2024, providing value to the people of the Cayman Islands. To be laid, Public Service Pension Board Annual Report and Accounts to be laid. The Annual Report 2024 Portfolio of Legal Services to be laid. Cayman Islands Judiciary Annual Reports and Accounts to be laid. The Ministry of Border Control, Labor and Culture 2024 for annual report to be laid as well. And then there's, of course, questions. Honorable Deputy Speaker, elected member for Georgetown West, to ask the Honorable Minister of Planning, Lands, Agriculture and Housing and Infrastructure, can the Honorable Minister advise whether the government has any plans to upgrade or refurbish the Windsor Park community to park in Georgetown? And then a question from the elected member for Raid Bay to ask the Honorable Deputy Governor, ex officio member responsible for the portfolio of the Civil Service, can the Honorable Deputy Governor confirm whether the Commissioner of Police intends to strengthen and enhance the operational capacity of the Community Policing Department? And there's some more, but we do have a caller, so let's grab the caller. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. O.C. Mario here.
Hey, good afternoon. How are you doing, my friend?
Good. Happy Friday to you. Thank God it's Friday.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. I just want to give you a few thoughts and to end the week off with something hopefully positive for me and also advisory in general. First of all, the other day I had a lady caller on, a very courageous lady from Cayman Brack. She lives here in Grand Cayman. I don't want to call her name because I'm not given permission to call her name, but she was talking about, and she's, like I said, she's a community worker and advocate. She was talking about the cyberbullying and the children that have, all their cell phones and they're doing, and not all the children, of course, there's a problem minority, but it certainly is need to be addressed. But the children all the children seems to have, if they want it, their cell phone that they can carry it to school and keep it on them in their bags or in their pockets or whatever during breaks and God knows when. But the thing that she was mentioning, the lady who called in, was about, when they have these fights and brawls, they videotape it and they share it. And so you have all this, name and shame and cyberbullying and all of that going on. And I want to suggest that the education officials, the new minister, who is a reformist and an action-oriented person, look at banning cell phones in schools by school children because, it's becoming a pandemic or an epidemic with them they're addicted to these phones like it's like a umbilical cord. And, during their breaks, they're not talking, I'm told. They're during the break, a lot of them are on their phone, not talking to people, not developing social skills. I assume that many of them have laptops, so they can actually do their research and whatnot in their laptops. But there's no need for children to have phones, cell phones, and these smartphones in particular on their person at school. It could be checked in at the office or checked in somewhere or not allowed on the campus. And I know that might be seem draconian, but I think we need to take some draconian measures if we want to save our country from ourselves in many instances. So I just want to leave that one in terms of looking at cell phone availability and usage by school children in our schools during school days.
Yeah.
The second point I want to raise with you, sir, is pretty soon, maybe next week, you'll see the traffic has been reduced significantly.
Yep.
So you know what's causing that, but you know it well. We talked about this for years because the schools are out and you don't have the school traffic, and the issue of not having sufficient school buses for all the children. Many parents, either by choice or by necessity, are taking their children to school, and that's cluttering up our already congested roadways during the rush hours. So again, I'm hoping and praying that the government, the Ministry of Education, with the Chamber of Commerce and with all the PTAs and all the school associations and boards of directors will look at this thing so that by September we can have a school busing system for all of our schools, all of our children to help with traffic congestion, but also to build social skills amongst the young people, and also, of course, have sufficient wardens on these buses to make sure that discipline and friendship and Caymankind is practiced. So I'll leave you with those 2 points unless you have a question for me.
Were you able to listen in this morning to the conversation with the minister responsible for Caymanian employment and immigration?
I only caught a bit of it because I had a 9 o'clock meeting, and I'm sorry that I wasn't able to listen because I was keenly interested in the whole immigration reform. And as you know, you and I have talked about that for years. You've been in the forefront as well. I wrote a paper, which is in one of Mr. Roy Bodden's books. I wrote a paper, which I may have shared with you in the 2021 symposium that they had. And I did a paper on immigration reform, and I'm hoping that some of those ideas will be picked up. I'm sorry I'm not able to drive them to conclusion, but at least not yet. But hopefully it'll be picked up and used as part of the reform because we need it. And what I've heard this morning sounded encouraging. What I want to say, Mr. O.C., is that we need to pull all of our good brains together, have a think tank, engage the public and private sector, engage Caymanians and non-Caymanians, the ones who are genuine about reform. And let's do this thing as a team, similar to what was done in Vision 2008, but not necessarily that long. But let's get people together, have a think tank, and let's do it properly and make sure that it is right. But there will be some opposition. I mean, there's organizations like the Chamber of Commerce, whatnot, that some of them you can't please them no matter what you do. But you've got to engage them, get their perspectives, but move on with doing the right thing because 25 years ago we're talking about this and we can't talk about it for another 25 years.
So true. Yep. Okay.
But thank you for your leadership too and for being the Deputy Chairman of the Business Staffing Plan Board and for always advocating for immigration, reform and human capital development for our country.
You're most welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Have a great weekend. Please stay safe as well. Folks, we're going to take our last commercial break. Please stay tuned. Talk Today. We'll be back shortly.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
This summer, choose from 10 international destinations for your vacation with Cayman Airways. Explore New York, discover Denver, roam Los Angeles, play in Tampa, shop in Miami, tour Panama, uncover Havana, hike in La Ceiba, jam in Kingston, or relax in Montego Bay. Connecting flights are also available from the sister islands. Cayman Airways offers more international non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline, and the lowest rates for checked bags. Book today at CaymanAirways.com, download our new mobile app, or call Cayman Airways reservations on 949-2311. Come fly with us and relax with your uniquely Caymanian airline.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Get ready, the fire of revival is coming. It's the great evangelistic campaign, Cayman Islands under the power of the Holy Ghost. Guest speaker Apostle Jose Duarte from Paraguay will be ministering throughout Grand Cayman, bringing a powerful word and the anointing of the Holy Spirit. Services begin Friday, June 27 at First Assembly of God and run through June 9. Don't miss the services in West Bay on June 30 and July 1 at Heritage Park and in Bordentown on July 3 at Public Beach. Come for healing, come for breakthrough. Come experience the power of the Holy Ghost. For full schedule details, call Sister Vilma Hawkins at 923-8954.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. We are on the last leg of the show this afternoon. And what do we have? WhatsApp message. Someone sent a photograph about the BRAC, and it said the best school bus drivers are in the BRAC. The BRAC drivers. This driver yesterday evening was making sure no one passed his bus. He turned the bus across the road. A job well done, thanks to that driver. They say Ms. Jan would love to see this. Yes, and we have seen drivers on Grand Cayman have to resort to the same thing to basically, have the bus in a diagonal position across the road to prevent traffic from crossing. That should not have to happen, but unfortunately, because of the fact that some people will not adhere to the rules of the road if they know them, then that's the case. Some people are wondering now whether or not we have to have those bollards down, dividing each lane because of the zigzagging, in the lanes with vehicular traffic as well. Whether or not we certainly need to do that also. So, what else that I want to talk about. Don't forget the Seafarers Register launch, which took place, and in the BRAC, the event will take place on the 10th of July from 6 p.m. The launch will take place in the BRAC as well. So make sure that you do that. We have a caller, likely to be the last caller for the afternoon caller. Welcome to Talk Today.
To you, Mr. Osei, good afternoon.
Afternoon, sir. How are you?
Just fine, thank you. The last 2 weeks has been very sad. Also, we lost some good friends. But life moves on.
Mm-hmm.
With regards to the issue of the Caymanian status and all that, it has always been, as you rightly said, you were saying it this morning, I can't remember, but it's a while ago, yes. But it's a confusing thing, and I understand that Minister Myers is trying to do a very good thing and the best he can. He said it would be for Caymanians. I've never forgotten a letter that Mr. Anthony Banks wrote in the paper some years ago. And the person he wrote it about is deceased now, so is Mr. Banks. But he said that person could never become a Caymanian. Of course, the person had Caymanian status. But I hope people that are listening careful to what I'm saying.
Okay.
He said no more than you could bake a cassava cake with sea sand. That person could never become. And he was a well-known person, Caymanian, more than you could any. If other, just like how you can't bake a cassava cake with sea sand. In other words, the person will never become. And it has happened, as we've seen, with many, many people who are given Caymanian.
Mm-hmm.
It is a confusing thing because many Caymanians, I won't call their names, there are some alive, Because my father and mother's younger children were not born in Cayman. We were born in Jamaica at a time when the Jamaican governor was in charge of this island. So we became automatically Caymanians and also automatically Jamaicans. My father moved here to do the turtling business for the marines. He took many Caymanians over him, particularly from the Brack, and built boats there and became very, very famous in Jamaica. There's nothing about that in the Seaman's Register. I tried to get that known. I tried in the stand. They have my phone number. There's bunches, hundreds of pages of things I could tell them about my father and others, and that would add to the Seaman's Registry. My father taught boat seamanship, taught navigation, taught people about him. He took the people out to do the Jamaican pilots they had for the harbor. The young men, I remember them all. They wouldn't be young anymore now. If some are still alive, I guess. To get your pilot's license, carry them out. The government of Jamaica asked me to do that, to train them and so forth. And he did Pedro Banks fishing from 1938 with them and all that. But that's not known, and I offered to tell them about it and so forth. There are so many things. There, my father's older brother, Uncle Joe, went up to the U.S. and he went and worked on the Panama Canal. There are a few other Caymanians who went with him, trying to find out the other names. His brother, one of his brothers, went with him, my father's older brother, John. He died over there from the yellow fever and so forth. Buried over there. My Uncle Joe went to sea too during the First World War, merchant shipping, and then he volunteered to go back in the Second World War to Russia, and so you got to prepare when you went to danger zones, you know, Russia and the convoys and so forth. Survived that. He was way in his late 40s and was in his 50s actually, early 50s. Uncle Joe was, and he told me many things about this. So those things are not known, and there are many Caymanians other than that too, my father and others. Over there in the Panama Canal when with Mr. Jimmy Ford's yacht basin, building yachts for him and so forth, and working on them. A few others with my father, 1929. Anyhow, with regards to the residency and Caymanian thing, it has been, as you rightly said, a very, very confusing issue. And my cousin Shelma was right. There are people who have been able to send their papers off to the U.S., to the Jamaican and the U.S. Embassy in Jamaica, and got your visas. I've heard of people doing it. Their 5-year, 10-year visa, as it now is, and so forth. And it all depends on many things, circumstances, who you are, different things, as we know how things are. It's a very confusing thing. Has always been, as you said, the British government has always managed to make things, simple things, very complicated, very confusing. And the pomp and pageantry issue, the showtime issue, that's... A lot of it is incorporated into our daily government, into our politics and all that. We can't do certain things without some political show play, without some show, some glamour, some glitz, pomp and pageantry and all this. We don't seem to be able to get away from that. And that's why I said, even our elections, sometimes people look at it as a kind of sport, a show, every 4 years, instead of thinking about the seriousness of it. And that's why I said it's a matter of personalities. It happens throughout the Caribbean. It's not here alone.
Okay. Caller, we're going to try to grab one more caller before we still have on hold. Yeah.
have to say, but another time.
Okay. Thank you.
Have a
Thank you.
very good day.
You too, caller. Okay. Thought that was going to be the last caller, but we had another caller come in. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today.
Mr. O.C.
Yes, sir. How are you?
I am good, sir. I am good. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
Well, good afternoon to you and all the Cayman Islands. This is Kenneth E. Banks or Clydes, whichever you refer to me as. First, okay, I know your time is running short, so I'll be as brief as possible. First, I want to congratulate you for giving us hell this morning for those of us who didn't show up for the launch of the Seafarers
Registry, yes.
Registry. I could give a number of excuses, but my reason for not showing up was because I thought initially that the venue was too small for such an auspicious occasion.
Okay.
That was my reason for not showing up. I didn't know it had changed. It's the same reason why I did not attend the Airports Authority presentation for the extension of the runway.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the venue was too small for the occasion. That aside, I want to talk briefly about what MP Kenneth Bryan was saying this morning concerning, was that the speeding in a no-wake zone or something?
That was in Parliament yesterday.
Yesterday, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That, in my view, it seems to want to shift the blame from them, and I'm not only referring to just him in this instance, but he brought up as a motion in the LA, so in Parliament. So what I'm saying is that yes, it is unfortunate, but it goes a bit beyond that because not all, but many of our laws and policies, we tend to do the policy analysis after.
Mm-hmm.
And I've only heard one other person other than myself talk about this acid test, which is a program for how to do policy analysis, and you do it before you implement the policy, so that you catch as many. You're not gonna catch them all, but all the pitfalls that could happen as a result of the policy. And if you do it pre-implementation, your chances of getting it almost right, because you're going to miss a few, getting it almost right beats the post-analysis, the post-implementation analysis.
Mm-hmm.
And I would sort of, suggest to the 19 honorable members who are there now to look at a similar model, or look at that one, and see how they can do this pre-implementation of policy and legislation to try and get the impacts or minimize the impacts as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I could do, but I know it's the end of the show, so I just want to try and bring it up today while it was somewhat topical.
Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you as well. Okay.
You're most welcome, sir, and have a great weekend, one and all.
Yes, and of course, your grandson, 21 years of age today.
No, tomorrow.
Tomorrow it is. Oh, okay.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. I think I got that wrong then. I may have read the message wrong when it came in. So it's tomorrow then. Tomorrow, the birthday. Okay. Alrighty. You have a great weekend, sir. Take care. Folks, hot off the press again, the Commonwealth Parliamentary Observer Mission on our elections. They have issued their final report, so you can go to gov.ky and find that report on there. So we have our domestic observers report as well as the overseas observers report now, both available as well. Folks, please have a great weekend. Please stay safe on our roads or anything else that you do. If you go to the beach, if you're taking children along with you, ensure that you keep them within sight, or if you have a swimming pool at home or something, keep them all within sight. Keep them safe. You stay safe as well, and we continue to ask the good Lord to continue to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
Talk Today is also brought to you by Mike's Builders. Call